Hello and welcome to the Minimum Competence episode for Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. I'm your host for today, Andrew Leahy, a tax and technology attorney from New Jersey. On today's episode, we cover MIT's diversity drop post-affirmative action ban, Maine farmers turning to solar energy due to PFAS contamination, and a $1 million fine over AI-generated Biden robocalls. Let's remember, every great thinker is someone else's moron, and read today's legal news. On this day in legal history, August 22nd, 1996, President Bill Clinton signed the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Act into law, marking a significant overhaul of the American welfare system. This legislation introduced strict work requirements for welfare recipients, imposed a lifetime limit of 5 years on receiving benefits, and replaced federal welfare entitlements with block grants to states, allowing them to set their own eligibility criteria. While the act aimed to encourage self-sufficiency and reduce dependency on government aid, it also had profound and often harmful consequences. The law disproportionately affected low-income families, particularly single mothers, by forcing them into low-wage jobs without adequate support for childcare or job training. The 5-year cap on benefits led many to exhaust their aid without securing stable employment, pushing them deeper into poverty. Additionally, the block grant system gave states significant discretion, leading to disparities in welfare assistance across the country and often resulting in reduced support for the most vulnerable populations. While the act succeeded in reducing welfare rolls, it did so at the cost of increasing economic insecurity for many families, highlighting the complex and often punitive nature of welfare reform in the United States. Following the U.S. Supreme Court's 2023 ruling that banned affirmative action in college admissions, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that's MIT for those in the know, saw a significant drop in the racial and ethnic diversity of its incoming freshman class. The percentage of Black, Hispanic, Native American, and Pacific Islander students fell to 16% from 31% in previous years. In contrast, the proportion of Asian American students increased from 41% to 47%, while the percentage of white students remained stable. MIT President Sally Kornbluth acknowledged the decrease in diversity as a consequence of the court's decision and stated that despite the class's overall excellence, it lacks the broad racial and ethnic representation that the institution has historically aimed to achieve. MIT and other colleges have been revising their admissions strategies to comply with the ruling, but these efforts have not fully mitigated the impact on underrepresented minority groups. Moving forward, MIT plans to enhance its outreach, including better promotion of financial aid and expanding access to STEM education for younger students in hopes of addressing the enrollment gaps. Fred Stone, a third-generation dairy farmer in Maine, had his livelihood devastated by PFAS contamination, commonly known as forever chemicals, which rendered his farm's land unusable for agriculture. In response, Stone recently signed a 30-year contract with Walden Renewables to convert his polluted farmland into a solar energy site, marking a reluctant but necessary shift to survive financially. Maine has developed innovative strategies, including prioritizing PFAS-contaminated farms for renewable energy projects to help affected farmers like Stone. The state aims to meet its renewable energy goals while offering a lifeline to farmers whose lands have been compromised by PFAS. Despite the solar option providing some relief, it's not the first choice for most farmers who initially respond with grief and anger to the loss of their agricultural livelihoods. Moreover, only certain properties are suitable for solar energy, limiting the number of farmers who can benefit. While Maine's approach is seen as a potential model, more comprehensive solutions are needed at the federal level to address the widespread issue of PFAS contamination and its impact on farmers. Lingo Telecom has agreed to pay a $1 million fine for transmitting AI-generated robocalls that falsely imitated President Joe Biden in an effort to dissuade New Hampshire's voters during the Democratic primary election. The robocalls, orchestrated by political consultant Steve Kramer, used voice cloning technology to spread disinformation. The Federal Communications Commission initially proposed a $2 million fine, but settled at $1 million, requiring Lingo to implement stricter compliance with caller ID authentication rules. Kramer, who worked for Biden's challenger, U.S. Representative Dean Phillips, and admitted to paying for the calls, now faces additional charges and a proposed $6 million fine from the FCC. The incident has heightened concerns in Washington about the potential for AI-generated content to mislead voters in the upcoming elections. In response, the FCC has proposed new rules that would require political ads on broadcast radio and television to disclose the use of AI-generated content, although the agency lacks authority over internet and social media ads. And with that, I thank you so much for listening to Minimum Competence, your daily news podcast for lawyers. If you're looking for more than Minimum Competence, links to further reading on all the topics touched on today are in the show notes. And reviews go a long way towards helping new listeners to find our show. If you have a moment, leave a rating or review on your podcast player. We'd sure appreciate it. And if you know someone that might be interested in the story we cover, consider sending them the episode. But remember, nothing here should be construed as legal advice because it is certainly not that. Minimum Competence is available at minimumcomp.com and wherever you get your finely crafted podcasts. If you haven't checked out the website in a while, give it a look. There are complete transcripts and resources for each episode and its corresponding segments, as well as an opportunity to receive new episodes in email, newsletter, form. We'll see you back here tomorrow, and until then, remember, nothing gives a fearful person more courage than another's fear.